They're raspberries. They taste a little different than raspberries I was used to in Canada, but still really good. If anything, it's vive la différence. It's great. So let me reposition. So a couple of weeks ago, I put out a video and got lots of views, which you'd normally think that was a good thing, and I guess it is in some respects, but in another respect it meant, because the topic was racism, so I went my second foray into the topic of racism in Korea, which is pretty much a guarantee to get good views, but it inevitably brings a lot of trolls and haters. Now, let's make the distinction here. A troll is someone who amuses themselves by saying inflammatory things in comment sections and in forums and in other places on the internet in order to try to get people going. And that's a win for them when people get excited and lose their heads. And best case scenario for them is that a shitstorm ensues and lots of people get angry and upset. So that's what trolls do. They may or may not believe what they're saying. They often just choose something that is really inflammatory, like racism or sexism or any number of other the really divisive issues that get people up in arms and excited. Haters, on the other hand, are people who genuinely oppose what you are saying and want to make your life as uncomfortable as they can. They don't want to argue with you, really, and not in the sense of an argument where you're having a back and forth, you're having an exchange, and you're listening to each other's and trying to see each other's point of view kind of argument. They don't want that. They just want to flame you and make you hopefully hurt your feelings so that you will desist from making the points that you make. So I've been around the internet a while now, and it's kind of thickened my skin in that regard. There were a couple of interesting characters I encountered. The ones that were of most interest to me were what I took as young Korean men, who seemed to genuinely feel that NBC's report, the one I referred to in my previous video, was justified. And those are the ones that I took a greater interest in. One in particular, and I don't want to name him because he is a young guy, and even though in the end I consider him a racist by my definition, but I don't want to have him receive any more hate because I think that will only harden him in his position. So as I hold out that much hope that he might change his mind, I don't want to direct any hate to his way. But so I'm leading up to this. This is my point. Question: is it only necessary to say something racist and inflammatory one time, as he directed towards me, and be considered a racist? So is it like as we would treat a murder? You only have to really murder one time to be considered a murderer. You only have to rape one time to be considered a rapist. But I think more charitable people, let's say if I do something stupid, does that mean I'm stupid? Everyone does stupid things, but does stupidity typify that person? So that's another sort of thing. You murder one person, you're a murderer. You do something stupid, are you a stupid person? Maybe, but if it doesn't typify what you normally do, then I wouldn't say, that was stupid, but you're not stupid. That's an important distinction. I think that's a sort of charity that I think mature people would keep in mind in that situation. But is a racist if they just, even once, in all seriousness, in all honesty, use a racial slur and direct it towards someone in hate? Does that make them a racist? Or ought we to be more forgiving? And given in my reading in psychology, one of the things that makes racism so prevalent is the human mind is kind of set up to be racist. We can look at the scientific method and we all can see that given a small sample, it's not safe to make larger, broader generalizations based on too small of a sample. Yet normal humans do this all the time. So I think we could be a little more forgiving of people who have racist tendencies, and yet, shouldn't we call a spade a spade? Are we doing anyone any good by being that forgiving? That's my question for the day. Hey, if this is 5 months later, I only got 50 views and no comments, still feel free to comment and tell me what you think. All right, 72 Daystar out. I think I'll go that way.